Hello there, my diecast friends. How you doing today? Hope you are doing really good. All right, so today we're going to take a look at some model railroad items again. Specifically, we're going to take a look at my three motive power units I've got that I'm using in my little system I got out there. You've no doubt have seen some of the introductory videos to this. You saw a video of some changes that we had made because we had the model railroad is now basically a semi-permanent unit in the living room. And there's also been some other changes made too. I'm going to chronicle those in a later time. Right now what I want to do is give you guys like an up-close personal video of my motive power units I have. Now, two of these you've already seen. You saw this in the test video. You saw this one in the last video I did about model railroad. This one you haven't seen yet. Okay, so we're going to start on that. Now, you may be asking yourself, hey, where's that red, white, and blue Spirit of 76 one? Yeah, well, let's talk about that one for a moment. That one's gone. I traded it, okay? I traded it and several other things I had that I didn't want anymore that I had accumulated over some time. And I got something else in return for it. It was kind of basically like an even swap. It worked out really good, okay? Here's why I traded it. That locomotive began to behave very badly, okay? In fact, it was very obvious that something devastating was happening to it, where it wasn't going to function at all anymore. It got to the point where it would no longer get reversed. You couldn't back it up. It would just kind of sit there and no headlight, and it would just buzz. When you try to go forward, sometimes all you get is headlight and loud buzzing, and then sometimes every once in a while you get it to coax and it would move, and it would move around the track for sometimes, you know, a whole hour, as long as you kept power to it. And the minute you stopped it, it wouldn't get going again. Okay, and every time I did that, it got worse and worse. So I said to myself, you know, I can't deal with this. I just don't have the eyesight at my age and also the dexterity of my fingers to work on that kind of stuff anymore, okay? It's bad enough in my job I have to sometimes mess around with robots, with those small parts, and I can barely do that. So I don't want to do that kind of stuff in my leisure time. So I traded it, to, along with many other things, to a guy who's actually out of state, believe it or not. And he loved that unit so much because it's one of the really super rare ones that has the actual replica of the presidential seal on it. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. You are not allowed by law to replicate the presidential seal at all. It's actually illegal. And so Tyco, when they did that in the very early run of those locomotives in 1973 and 1974, they got sued for that. So the ones that did not sell, they had to reclaim them, and then they had to reissue new ones that had a kind of an altered seal that didn't quite look like the actual presidential seal. So those Tyco units that went out the door that actually had the actual replica of the presidential seal, those are highly sought after by collectors, even if they're in either barely working condition. So this guy was more than happy to get that. And what he's going to do is he's going to re-engine it. He said a lot of guys don't even mess around with rebuilding the Mantuas because even though they're better than the Power Torque and they're fairly reliable, he said they're really not that good. So he's going to re-engine it. He's actually going to put, he told me, 2 engines in it, 2 motors in it. So it's going to be even better. And I was like, man, if you can do that, more power to you. Okay. All right. So let's start with this guy here. This is the newest edition. So this is a replica of an Alco PA-1. And I'm going to give you both facts on the model and the real unit. So they built these between 1946 and 1953. And they have a body style. You see how this has got a sleek style, as does this one. Okay. That's called a cowl body. And the Santa Fe Railroad really preferred this style of body to pull their passenger trains versus this style here. This is called a hood unit because they felt that this body style was more appropriate and a lot nicer to be pulling a passenger train than one of these more utilitarian looking hood units. These cowl units had another advantage also, where it allowed the cab crew to actually venture into the engine area and make adjustments or maintenance while the train was in motion, okay? With this style locomotive, you can't do that. It's a little more dangerous. You don't want to be out there while the train's moving at 70, 80 miles an hour out there in that walkway, okay? So a lot of times they'd have to wait until they pulled into a stopping point or a station before they could work on that. All right, so what I did was I loosened the body on both this one and this one. You can see the internal guts. This one I left alone because it's actually much more difficult to get the body off. But I assure you that the guts in this one are almost identical to the one in this one because these are both AHM units, okay? So let's look at that little Alco PA-1 first. As I said, they built these between 1946 and 1953. And they made 297 of them. After 297, only 6 of them are left. 4 of those are in model railroad museums. One's being used as a power plant for a steam generator, and there's only one left that's actually used as like a passenger train. It's used as like a light-duty tourist line where they take passengers on a brief little tour. I believe it's up in the Delaware area that they have this. Okay, so it's the only one left. It's still in functional condition. They fully restored it. It's got this really pretty blue and white paint scheme on it. It's really cool. I actually saw a video of it. It's really neat. So this particular Alco was built by a company called Con-Cor, and this is a model from the early 80s. And the Con-Cor does a beautiful job. Con-Cor is actually made in Austria, and I'm going to show you the little made in Austria badge on the bottom of this thing. So this paint scheme that Santa Fe uses is called their war bonnet paint scheme. Santa Fe, of course, as you know, is very Native American themed. I'm going to pull the body off. I have it loose, and I'm going to show you the internal guts of this guy. It's actually really ingenious how they did this. So one of the things that impressed me with this was it's got metal gears, okay? The AHMs, they're using plastic gears, okay? So here's how Con-Cor did it. So you got your armature back here, and it's got green coilings in there, just like the Tyco Mantua MU2 does. You have a series of gears that's driving this gearbox back here, okay? And then you flip this over, you're going to see this little drive shaft with tiny little U-joints. That connects this gear case, which drives these front wheels. That's actually really ingenious how they did that, okay? And the wheels on this one, this is your gear-driven wheel, as is this one, and then the middle one is your freewheeler, and that's the same case with the one up here. You'll notice they have a significant weight over the trucks. This one they didn't use as big a weight because they're relying on the weight of the armature to accomplish the rest of that. So this train, this locomotive, I'm going to tell you something. This hauls a set of beautiful silver aluminum body replica passenger cars I have. This thing flies, guys. I mean, you would not believe it. It is definitely, without question, the fastest locomotive I have. It just streaks around the track. It's amazing, okay? And when I first got it, it was a little sticky. You know, like I said, I bought this as part of a lot with a bunch of passenger cars, and the guy wasn't even sure if it worked. And guys, it works, and it works like a dream. It's amazing. I'm gonna snap this body back on here, okay? And yeah, it's a good runner. It's, without question, the fastest one I got. It's got a neat headlight up here. This actually turns on, and it's actually a single concentrated beam of light. These two units I have here, the whole cab lights up, so you don't get that concentrated beam there. But yeah, it's a very nicely done locomotive. And let's see if I can, let me flip it around. If you look right there. Oh, actually, I had it right the first time. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, if you look right there, there it says, made in Austria. And the passenger cars that came with this say the same thing on the bottom. Very neat. All right, and then before I conclude with that one, I want to show you guys a printout. I have a printout of what a real one of these looks like. Also finished in its lovely war bonnet paint. There you go. Now there's also a unit called a PB unit, and what that was, it was a unit that did not have the cab. It was strictly just the control unit, the engine, which by the way is a V16 diesel powered by a turbocharger. They used to call these a honorary steam engine because when these were first getting going, I'm going to show you the exhaust port. This is the exhaust port right here, okay? When these were first getting going and the turbocharger hadn't spooled up yet, these things would billow a plume of smoke that would rival that of a steam engine. So that's one of the reasons they earned that little nickname there. So there you go. That's an Alco PA-1. All right, now I'm going to show you our EMD FP45. EMD stands for Electromotive Division. That's a division of General Motors that concentrates on locomotives. Okay, now this one, FP45, was built between 1967 and 1970. And it was actually built at the request of the ATSF, that stands for Atchison, Topeka, and Santa Fe Railroad, because they wanted to have a locomotive power unit that was going to be a little more prestigious looking with the cowl body than the hood unit. Okay, so they actually specially requested this type right here. And this has the same advantage as well. You know, you can have the worker can pass through the cab into the engine bay and work on it while it's in motion. Okay, so this is an AHM locomotive. And these were built in, get this, the former Yugoslavia, built in a country that doesn't exist anymore, just like this one. Heard me mention that in the prior video. I got a subscriber, his name's Wolf Mark, that's his channel name. He is actually from the former Yugoslavia. He gave me some great information about the Mehanotehnika factory where these were built. Later on, they called that factory just simply Mehano, because Mehanotehnika, as you can imagine, that's quite a mouthful, all right? So he said that this FP45 unit is from the early 80s, as is this SD40 unit, also by AHM. He told me he can tell that by the various design features that are on it. And because he has, like I said, he has some really good first-hand knowledge about these. So the FP45 replica that they built, it only has power pickups on 2 wheels instead of 4. And that's actually very noticeable because when this train goes through switch tracks, I've noticed it hesitates a little bit when it's pulling a train out there. So I'm going to lift the body off this one, and I'm going to show you the guts of this guy, okay? So this one, AHM did theirs a little differently. It's still a very effective way to do it. So the armature is located in the middle. You'll see they actually are using copper windings. And then it's connected with these 2 drive shafts that connect to these 2 gear cases here. And Wolfmark told me that AHM's FP45 had the heaviest, probably the heaviest lead weight in the entire lineup. That's in the middle there to keep this thing down on the track so that way it'll actually pull. And he said there was a later version where they used a Mabuchi motor that was a little bit bigger, and they made it to where all 12 wheels would drive. The way this is set up is these 2 wheels here are gear driven, and then this is the freewheeler. And then when you get to the front truck, it's kind of the opposite. This is the freewheeler, and then this is the 2 gear driven ones. All right. I'm going to go ahead and snap this body back on so you can get a little bit of a look at it. Like I said, yeah, the other one is a little trickier to get off there. It's, you know, it's a little more involved. I'll snap that back on. There we go. Give you a nice little look at that. So this one, like I said, the whole cab lights up with the headlight. You got a little bit of a slight oil smear right here. Yeah, I recently lubed this one. Actually, unfortunately, I over-lubed it. I had to work that out, but it's all taken care of now. It runs really good. This one is not as fast. It's got some power though, but it's a pretty sprightly one itself. But yeah, of the 3 of them, the Alco PA-1 is definitely the fastest. And I've got a printout of one of these to show you. And by the way, this is powered in real life. These are powered by a V20 diesel. Now, can you imagine that? 12 cylinders, the size of an oil drum, probably. This is what a real one looks like. FP45. You'll notice this one's got the earlier war bonnet style paint. This one has the later style. Just slightly different, not much, but just a little bit. All right, we're moving on now. Now I'm going to show you up close the SD40, also by AHM, also produced by the Mehanotehnika factory there in the former Yugoslavian Republic, which I just think is fascinating. You know, I get off on that. All right, so the SD40, now they built this guy. This is also built by Electromotive Division. And they built these between 1966 and 1972. That was the first series. Then they came out with an SD40-2, which was built between 1972 and 1989. So this had a long run, okay? And in fact, you still might occasionally see some of these in service, okay, even though they're, you know, in advanced age at this point. So this is also a triaxle locomotive, and just like the other one, the FP45, you got the first 2 wheels are gear-driven. This is your freewheeler. And then in the rear truck, it's basically the opposite. This is the freewheeler. This is the gear-driven one. This has, like I said, the exact same drive system as the FP45 for AHM. The only noteworthy differences are the drive shafts are a little shorter and the armature stands upright instead of being laying down on its side, okay? And they probably do that because you have limited room with the hood unit body right here, okay? So as I said, yeah, hood units have an external walkway, and then there's these various panels you open up to service the engine. And like I said, with these type, you don't want to be out here while the train's moving at speed, okay? You just don't want to be doing that. And yeah, Wolfmark was telling me about the pilots on these. He said that they used to do it with a closed pilot, but they found out that when you would do that and you had fixed couplers on the body, it was actually derailing the first car on certain radiuses on track. So they solved the problem by giving what's called open pilots. That's what you see here, where the truck, or the coupler swings in the direction of the truck, and that solved the problem where it doesn't derail anymore. So yeah, Wolfmark gave me a lot of great information on these. He said this is also another unit from the early 80s. You can tell by the various design features on it and everything. This one's a little trickier to get the body off. I have to loosen these 2 screws here and then remove the weight, and then the body kind of articulates off like this. So it's a little more involved to get that off and on. I don't want to have to do that on camera, but the other 2 are much easier. Okay, this has also a V16 diesel in it that they used. And you know, I don't know if you guys knew this or not. Okay, I'm going to tell you how these diesel locomotives work. Maybe you don't know this. Now, for a lot of years, I felt how they worked was the engine drove a complicated series of shafts and gears that connected to the wheels. That's not how they work at all. How they really work is the diesel engine is actually driving a giant generator, and the generator is supplying electricity to connected giant electric motors that are located at each of these wheels. Now on the real unit, there's a motor at each wheel. Okay, so you got all 12 of these wheels driving. Okay, wait, is that right? Did I say that? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Yeah, that's right. It's 12 wheels. So all 12 wheels are driving in that case. And you can imagine that provides a lot of pulling power. And then think about how you'll often see multiple units of these hooked up. And that just gives you an idea of how they're able to pull trains there, sometimes up to 1.5 miles long. It's really impressive. And I've also got a real one of these to show you. This is a real life SD40. And I even managed to find one in the same color scheme too. Yeah, so Santa Fe had a couple of different color schemes. They also had the navy blue and yellow, which is also very eye-catching. And yes, in case you haven't noticed, the Santa Fe Railroad, it's my favorite railroad. That's why I collect the units from them. And it's because I like the geographical area and I like their color schemes as well. And they no longer exist as a separate railroad. They've been absorbed by Burlington Northern. So Burlington Northern Santa Fe is all one railroad, and they all adopted each other's routes now. And yeah, that's just how it goes in America now. You know, instead of competing with everybody, we just buy up the competitors and then create a miniature monopoly. That's insane. But there you have it, my fellow diecast fanatics, and also my few model railroad fanatics that are out there. Like I said, crossover interest. You know, it's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. So that gives you an up close and personal view of all the power units I have in my collection. And I'm going to be doing a demonstration video with this one, pulling its passenger cars, and also the new passenger cars that I traded the Spirit of 76 for, among many other things I had, is pulled by this guy right here. And I've got it set up now. I actually altered the layout that I had, and I have it set up now where there's 2 tracks, and there's trains that can run in opposite directions of each other with 2 controllers, and it's quite a sight. So I'm going to show you that too as well. All right. So in the meantime, diecast fanatics, I love you guys, man. You're awesome. All my subscribers, all my viewers. I love the information you give me. I mean, believe me, I don't know it all. I mean, I might know quite a bit, but I don't know it all. And so when you fill me in with new information or you correct me on something that I may have gotten wrong, yeah, I really appreciate that. I really do. You know, I don't have a big giant ego that says, hey, I'm the authority here. I say it goes. No, that's not me, man. I am more than open to your corrections, your suggestions, all that good stuff. So yeah, don't even sweat that, man. I enjoy doing this. It's a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep on doing it. So in the meantime, everyone take care of yourselves. God bless, and we'll see you in the next video.